Hello, bonjour, it's Laura here. In this video, I'm going to talk about a real-life example of where you might use a conversion factor. So I've got on the screen a Bannock recipe here. You can see it will produce 10 pieces of Bannock. It needs 2 cups of flour, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon of salt, half a cup of milk, and half a cup of water. So what would you do if you needed to produce 20 pieces of Bannock instead of just the 10? So that's pretty easy. What you do is just multiply every single one of those ingredients by 2. You would really just be doubling the recipe, and that's a pretty common thing. So say you're trying to figure out your flour. Instead of doing 2 cups, you'd multiply the 2 by 2 because you're doubling it and get 4 cups. But what if you need exactly 51 pieces of Bannock instead of 20? That problem is a little bit more difficult. So in something like this, you could actually use a conversion factor, and you can use the recipe to give you your conversion. So let's go through an example. Say you're just trying to figure out the amount of flour. So the given is the 51 pieces of Bannock. So we know we need 51 pieces of Bannock. And then what do we need? We need the cups of flour. So what would the equality be? So this is the really important part. You can get that equality right from your recipe. So we know from the recipe, if we use 2 cups of flour, then you're going to produce 10 pieces of Bannock. And then all the other ingredients would be this for 10 pieces of Bannock as well. So to do the conversion, let's set this up. So and it's going to be the same as all of the other conversions that we've done. So first thing we want to do is the 51 pieces of Bannock. Oops. So that's our given, 51 pieces of the Bannock. Sorry guys, I have troubles with this pen sometimes. All right. So that's our given. Then I'm going to multiply that by a conversion factor. Okay, so I want to cancel out the Bannock, and I'll end up with flour. So what I need to do is have the pieces of Bannock on the bottom of my conversion factor, and then on the top I'll have the cups of flour. Okay, and then the numbers that I put in here come straight from my equality, right? So 2 cups of flour and 10 pieces of Bannock. Okay, and then when I do that multiplication, I'm going to get 10.2 cups of flour. And so remember, my pieces of Bannock cancel out here, and that's how we can be left with the cups of flour. And so the calculation that you would do in your head or on your calculator would be 51 times 2 and then divided by 10. And then you should get 10.2 cups of flour. So that's a real life example of how you could use a conversion factor. Okay, so next video we're going to talk about how you can use that from a balanced equation, because a recipe and a balanced equation are really quite similar. Okay, well done, miigwech.